What's up YouTube, welcome back to another video on my channel Skotrix, and today as you can see we are back not on NBA 2K22 but instead we're going to be on this tier chart right here, and I'm going to be ranking every single finishing badge in NBA 2K22. Now this video is going to be for current gen and next gen since the badges are the same between them, and it's easy to rank them both together, and I'm going to be trying to do this for every single build, so I'll balance it out between guards and big men, so it should be good for every build. I'll talk about which badges are good for which build as well, and I'll give just a brief explanation of what each badge does and why I'm putting it where I'm putting it on this chart. And this is going to be the best finishing badges, but later today I will do the best shooting badges as well, and then tomorrow I will have playmaking and defense, so make sure you look out for that as well. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those videos as well. And the last thing, I'm going to be putting 4 badges in each category right here, so we have 5 categories, 4 badges each, that's 20 badges, and that will cover every single finishing badge in NBA 2K22. So yeah, now with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get right into the video here. Alright, so the first badge up right here is going to be unstrippable, and I'm going to put unstrippable into the B category. This is a mid-tier badge. It's okay. If you have enough finishing badges to get this badge, that's good. Or if you find that you're getting the ball stripped from you when you're slashing a lot, you can put this on, but it's not a necessary badge. Getting stripped when you're slashing to the rim does happen in this game, but not too much. So this badge is really more of a luxury for high badge slashers that can afford to get it. Now, next up right here, we got Teardropper, and Teardropper is basically the worst finishing badge in this game. Again, it pretty much has been for the last few years. Basically nobody does floaters, nobody does runners, so there's really no point in putting this badge on at all. You can pretty much just ignore Teardropper. You don't need it unless you do floaters for some reason, but I don't know anybody who does it, and I definitely don't do it, so you really don't need Teardropper. That's why it goes in the bottom category right here. Next up we have Slithery Finisher. This is one of the best finishing badges for basically any build, guard, big man, whatever. You're going to want Slithery Finisher. It's super good. It will help you get around people at the rim and finish much more consistently, so you're definitely going to want to get Slithery Finisher for any build that has at least like 5 finishing badges. You're for sure going to want to get that. Next up right here we have Rise Up, and I'm going to put Rise Up into the B category. I have a feeling this one might have some controversy with people thinking that it should go higher, but I think Rise Up fits perfectly in the B category. It is okay. It will help you get standing dunks more consistently, but it's really not that good. If you're like a post scorer or like a 7-foot big man that has a really good standing dunk, then definitely consider investing into this. But for guards, slashing big men, there's really a lot of better options. Even though this badge is okay, there's a lot of better options than Rise Up. You really don't need it, but it is a decent badge, and if you have enough to get it, you definitely can. And next up right here we have Putback Boss, and I'm actually going to put Putback Boss above Rise Up, and I'll explain why. Basically the reason I think Putback Boss is a better badge than Rise Up is because, first of all, if you get an offensive rebound and you're going right up, Putback Boss will help with layups and dunks, and the only way the Rise Up will really help is if you're going to be standing under the rim, and if you're standing under the rim, it's either going to be from getting an offensive rebound and you're going to go back up, which Putback Boss will help with, or you're going to be wide open under the rim and you won't need Rise Up anyways. So that's the reason I'm putting Putback Boss above it. Plus, if you put this badge just onto bronze, you unlock putback animations, so you can just go straight up and put the ball up while you're still in the air. That's why Putback Boss goes into A tier. It's not a super good badge, but it is very good, and I recommend getting it for basically every single big man build that has at least some offensive rebound and some finishing. And next up right here we have Pro Touch, and I'm putting Pro Touch into the B category. Pro Touch is a pretty mid-tier badge. You can get it if you have enough finishing badges, but it really only helps if you have layup timing turned on and if you're doing a lot of layups. So I wouldn't really recommend it for any build unless you don't have a dunk but you have a really good layup. Then you could definitely consider getting Pro Touch, but otherwise for most slashers you could ignore it unless you have at least like 20 or so finishing badges, 20 to 25 finishing badges. Then you could look at putting Pro Touch on as one of your last badges, and you only have to get it up to like bronze or silver. And on next gen it does actually have some pretty good value for how many badge points you have to give it up to get onto bronze and gold, or silver and gold, sorry. I think it's only 2 to get onto silver and 3 or 4 to get onto gold, so it's a really good value badge, but it's not super important. More of a mid-tier badge right there. And next up we have Posterizer right here. Posterizer goes definitely into the S category. Not really much that needs to be said about this. If you're a slasher, you need Posterizer, period. That's really all there is to say. And next up right here we have Post Spin Technician, and I'm going to put Post Spin Technician as the first one into the C category. This badge is really okay. You'll probably know if you need it. If you do a lot of post spins, you need it. If you don't, you don't need it. That's pretty much all there is to say about that. Next up right here we have Mouse in the House. I'm putting Mouse in the House in the bottom tier. I really don't think this badge is that good. I don't think 99% of builds will need this badge because it just doesn't have any value. Basically what it does is it will help you score over smaller opponents, but if you guys have been playing this game, you know that if you're at least 4 or 5 inches bigger than an opponent, unless they're like a super lockdown, you're just going to score over them easily anyways, and you really don't need this badge. So I don't really see the point in Mouse in the House for most builds, but if you want to get it, you can. I just don't think it's a good badge at all. And next up right here, we have Lob City Finisher. I'm going to put Lob City Finisher into the A category. This is a pretty good badge. If you're catching lobs, definitely put it on. If you're not catching lobs, you don't need it, but it will definitely help you convert more lobs. And obviously you can use that to grind finishing badges or my points or whatever. Lob City Finisher, it's one of those badges. Like I said, if you're catching lobs, get it. If not, don't worry about it. And next up we have Limitless Takeoff right here. Limitless Takeoff is going into the S tier category right here. This is a super good badge for slashers. Really, that's all there is to say. If you can get Limitless Takeoff, put it on. It's super good. And next up right here we have Hook Specialist. Hook Specialist is kind of hard to rank because just like some of these other badges, you'll know if you need it. If you do post hooks, you need it. If you don't, you don't. So I'm going to put it into the B category right here. Mid-tier badge, but it's not really a mid-tier badge. It would be in the S category if you're a post scorer, and the D category if you're like a guard or somebody who doesn't do post hooks. So just keep that in mind. You should know if you need that one or not. And next up right here we have Grace Under Pressure, and I'm going to put this into the D category right here. I don't think this is that good of a badge. I don't think it really has much of a place in the game. There's just so many better finishing badges. I just don't see how Grace Under Pressure could go any higher than D, maybe C. So that's why that's there. Next up right here we have Giant Slayer, and I'm putting Giant Slayer into the C category. Now the reason it's going into here is because it doesn't actually help you dunk on bigger opponents. It only helps you convert layups over bigger opponents, and you really shouldn't be trying to do layups over people that are at least 4 or 5 inches taller than you, which is what you're going to need for this badge to have any effect. So I don't really see the point in it. If you're going into a center and you're a guard, don't try to do a layup over them in the first place. This badge will not make it work like just magically. So that's why it goes in the C category right here. I really don't recommend it. Unless maybe you have like a ton of finishing badges and you just don't know what to put them on, then you could consider putting on Giant Slayer, but otherwise I'd ignore it. Next up we have Fearless Finisher right here. Fearless Finisher, definitely an S tier badge. This helps you finish in contact, and it also will take away less stamina when you're trying to finish in contact. So it's a super good badge here. I recommend getting it for basically every single slasher build, no matter what you are, big man, little guy, doesn't matter. Get Fearless Finisher for sure. And next up right here we have Fast Twitch. Fast Twitch is a pretty good badge. I'm putting it into the A category right here. And basically what it will do is it will help you go up faster and give people less time to be able to block you. So it's a really good badge to match with something like post or putback boss. If you're a big man, you're definitely going to want Fast Twitch. If you have enough to invest in it, you're definitely going to want it. It is a pretty solid badge. Definitely not S tier, but it is a tier badge for sure. And next up right here we have Drop Stepper, and Drop Stepper is another one of those badges. You'll know if you need it. I'm putting it into the D category as the last badge here, but you'll know if you need it. If you do drop steps, you can consider putting it on. If you don't, you can definitely ignore it, but Drop Stepper is going into the D category right there. And next up right here we have Dream Shake, and I'm going to put Dream Shake into the C category. This is an okay badge for post scorers. I think it's been better in years previous, but if you're not a post scorer, you really don't need it. It's okay maybe, but you really don't need it unless you're a post scorer or a big man who scores on the block a lot. So that's Dream Shake. It does say that defenders will bite on pump fakes in the paint more, but I don't really know what that means. If you're playing online, I don't really think it's going to do much. So I wouldn't put Dream Shake on for anybody unless you're a post scorer and you have enough badges to get it. But next up right here we have Back Down Punisher, and I'm going to put Back Down Punisher also as the final badge into the C category. And this doesn't mean that it's a bad badge. It is okay. I just needed a 4th badge to round out the C category, but really it's in between the C and the B category. If you're backing people down a lot, you're gonna want Back Down Punisher. If you're a post scorer, you're gonna want Back Down Punisher, but otherwise if you're a guard or whatever, you can obviously ignore it. And the reason I'm not putting it into the B or the C category just based off how good it is as a post scorer is because usually if you're a post scorer, strength is really important. You're going to be either going up against people with low strength who you're not going to need Back Down Punisher for because they have low strength, you'll just back them down anyways, or you'll be going up against people with high strength where Back Down Punisher will have a decent, minimal but decent effect. So that's why I'm putting into the C category. It is good for post scorers, but it's not super essential. And the last badge right here we have is Acrobat, and Acrobat obviously rounds out the A category right here. And this is a pretty good badge. I recommend it for pretty much any slasher, whether you're a big man, a guard, whatever. Acrobat is a pretty good badge, and I recommend getting it on as one of your first badges and getting it up as high as you can once you can. So yeah, that's the final badge right here. This is the final tier list, 5 tiers, 4 badges in every tier. ranking all of the best finishing badges in NBA 2K22. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe to my channel if you're new. Only 2% of people who watch my videos are actually subbed to my channel, so if you click that subscribe button right now, you can join the 2% gang. I really appreciate it. Helps it a lot. And also I stream on Twitch. My Twitch link will be down in the description below. Make sure you go follow me over there if you enjoy watching live streams. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Like I said, shooting video coming later today, the shooting badges, and then tomorrow we'll be playmaking and defense. All right, peace.